The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade.
Welcome to the Unfiltered by Jade, where we get out of the box and dive into topics that are sidelined. I look forward to entertain, educate, and inspire. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records, a proud sponsor of The Unfiltered by Jade.
Shopping Assistance Jamaica takes the stress away. Our services include online and local shopping in Jamaica for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, helping you to find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195. Shopping Assistance 2015 at gmail.com. Follow Shopping Assistance on Instagram at Shopping Assist JA, at Twitter at Shopping Assist 5, and Facebook at The Shopping Assistance. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget. Welcome back to the Unfiltered by Jade. Today we have with us Maya Tadross, and she is here to speak with us about the realities of OCD. She is a psychology student, she is a blogger, and she's an OCD advocate. Yes, so hello, Maya, and welcome.
Hi, Jade. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure, no problem. So it's interesting. I was doing some research and was trying to find someone who I can, have this conversation with, because there are so many times where, this topic has been brought up and many people don't really understand the depth of it. So thank you so much for being on here to kind of have this conversation with us.
Yes, thank you. I'm excited to be here and I'm happy to share some truths about OCD.
Definitely. So define what OCD is for us.
OCD stands for Obsessive-compulsive disorder, and it's a mental illness characterized by obsessions, which are unwanted, intrusive thoughts or worries that you can't get out of your head,
Right.
and compulsions, which are the repetitive behaviors you do in response to the anxiety caused by obsessions, trying to get the anxiety to decrease.
I've always wondered about that, if they're two different things or if they're the same things in one.
Yes, so OCD is, I believe you can have compulsive behaviors and obsessive behaviors without having OCD.
Okay.
But if you have obsessions that lead to compulsions, that lead to distress and causes impairment or other dysfunction in your life, then it is a disorder called OCD.
Okay. That's the difference. Are there different types of OCD?
Yes, so there are infinitely many types of OCD because OCD can latch onto anything you care about. So some common types are contamination OCD, where people worry about dirt or germs.
Yes.
And that's probably what most people think of. But there are so many other types, like harm OCD is a very common type. It's where people obsess about themselves or other people they love getting hurt, and they do repetitive rituals to prevent that from happening. And that can look like, oh, I have to tap this 18 times or else my mom will get hurt.
Okay.
Or I have to pray 8 times or else I might get attacked. It can really be anything.
Oh. Okay.
I know it sounds very scary.
No. I have never thought about that before, because when you said that, I'm like, do I have do I have this? Because I tend to worry a lot about my family members.
Yes.
So for me, it's not like, I don't know if you want to call it a ritual, but for me, I'm always checking in. Are you okay? Are you good?
Gotcha.
And sometimes they'll probably see it as, hey, I need to relax.
Mhm.
they're good, So sometimes I'm wondering, is this a problem that I have? If it's not,
I mean, obviously, I'm not a professional or
Right, right,
anything,
right,
but
right, right.
the difference between having obsessive thoughts and compulsive behaviors and having OCD is the disorder part. So
Okay,
OCD stands for obsessive compulsive disorder.
right.
So it causes disorder in your life. So a lot of people, like you were saying, check in on their family members, and to the point where maybe their family members get annoyed.
Yes.
But it becomes a disorder when it starts to cause dysfunction in your life.
Dysfunction. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Got you. Got you. How does one get diagnosed with OCD?
So you can get diagnosed with OCD from a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a
Right.
therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important that you see one who specializes in OCD because unfortunately, a lot of mental health professionals don't really understand OCD and it's
Okay.
often misdiagnosed. So you have to
Mm.
make sure you go to a mental health professional who understands it.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Okay. Is it a personality trait?
No, like I was saying before, you can have obsessive and compulsive behaviors without
But
having
it's not
OCD.
disorder, right?
Yes, exactly. And the difference between having the obsessive and compulsive behaviors without OCD and having OCD is that when you have OCD, the symptoms bother you. So a person with OCD doesn't like cleaning, but they feel like they have to. A person with OCD might not want to pray 10 times, but they feel like they have to. Whereas someone who it does compulsively prays without having OCD maybe just enjoys praying, values praying. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if
I
you have
mean,
any
it
questions.
does. I'm just thinking about different scenarios in my head or different persons who have come across.
Yes.
So I've seen different scenarios. So some of them are where I'd be somewhere. I've been out with a friend's mom and she has wipes and she used the wipes to open the
Hmm.
door. She used the wipes to close the door. She wipes the steering wheel. um to open up back the door again, she used the wipes. When she's putting the key in the car, she wipe it off and use it. So she's constantly wiping down things
Okay.
and
That
using.
definitely sounds like something I could relate to. I used to be worried about dirt and germs so much that I would open doors with paper towels or wipes.
Yes.
So I can definitely relate to that.
Or I've seen other persons where, like in the kitchen or anywhere where they have storage, everything has to be in this particular color or this particular order.
Okay.
And if it's not in that order, as if like if it is that, like for seasonings, when
Hmm.
they're putting seasonings together, it has to be from short to tall or from short. It and it has to be in a particular order when they're putting it. Else, if not, they can't. It's like they can't function and do anything else unless that is done.
Yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about. It's a very difficult fine line between sometimes like obsessive and compulsive behaviors and OCD. So, as long as doing that doesn't cause their life to be difficult, doesn't cause them too much distress, then it's not OCD. But
Mm,
it becomes
okay.
OCD when maybe they spend hours arranging their cabinets or cupboards because then that takes away from other things they could be doing,
Right.
or they have a panic attack if somebody touches
Yes.
something that
Oh,
they organize.
yes.
So OCD is just
Yes.
like a very extreme version of normal behavior, if that makes sense.
Yes, I do. I do understand that. What are some of your experiences with OCD? I mean, you have stated some before, but give us some more idea of what are the experiences.
Of course. So I started experiencing OCD when I was 14 years old,
Okay.
and it started out as I was all of a sudden very worried about dirt and germs, and I felt I needed to wash my hands a lot.
Okay.
Um, like I was saying before, I would use barriers when I opened doors. I would use like wipes as barriers so I wouldn't have to touch the doorknobs.
Right.
I also had something called religious scrupulosity OCD,
Mm,
which is when you obsess about your religion. So personally, I'm Catholic, and I would pretty much take the rules of religion too far.
Okay.
So I would feel the need to pray for hours every night. And if I didn't complete a certain prayer ritual, then I was afraid that God would be really mad at me, something bad would happen, and
Okay.
I couldn't go to sleep until really late because I would be awake doing these elaborate rituals.
Right.
So that was part that caused dysfunction in my life because I didn't get a lot of sleep. Other things included I had, like I was mentioning earlier, worrying about harm coming to other people.
Yes.
So I would check the locks in my house, every single lock in my house, which took a very long time,
Okay.
every night. And the thing about OCD is that they call it the doubting disorder because you doubt everything you do. So even once I checked the lock, my OCD would make me doubt that I even checked it. So I would have to go back
And
again and
check it
again.
again.
Yes, it was very frustrating because it's like you're stuck in a spiral and you can't get out.
How did it affect school?
That's a good question. So for me, it affected school. I had a lot of rituals related to rereading and rewriting
Right.
because when I was reading, I thought, oh, what if I don't really understand this? I have to go back and reread it. And then my OCD would say, that's not enough. You have to reread again and again. So, and the same thing with writing. So homework took me a really long time, much
To get
longer.
completed.
Yes.
Yes.
Much longer than it should have. Also, sometimes in school, I couldn't finish my exams because I would be busy rereading and rewriting. So it definitely affected school negatively.
And work. How did it affect work? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in college right now. So
Okay.
I've had a few temporary jobs over the
Right.
summer.
Right.
But I haven't had a job. I didn't have a job when my OCD was at its worst. I
Okay. Okay.
only was
Okay.
able to work after my
After.
OCD was managed. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How is it that you? I'm gonna go to the treatments for OCD, but I want to know personally, how is it that you dealt with these issues that came up?
Yeah. So I was a kid when it happened, so I
Right.
didn't know what was going on, and I actually looked up my symptoms online, which isn't always the best idea, but
Right. Yes. I
yeah.
know.
But I actually came across an article about OCD, and I was like, I think this is what I have. And I told my parents, and I asked if I could see a therapist because I thought I needed help because I couldn't stop doing these rituals and having
Right.
these thoughts. So I went to a few therapists for 2 years, once a week, but unfortunately, my OCD was so severe that the therapy didn't really help. So the
Mm.
biggest thing I had to do was I had to go to what's called residential treatment, which is where you live at a treatment center for a
Okay.
few months and you get treatment every day. So it's very intense. So when I was 16, I went to residential treatment and I lived at the center with a bunch of other teenagers who have OCD. And I did treatment every day for almost 3 months, and it
Okay.
really, really helped me. The treatment is called exposure and response prevention therapy, or ERP, and it's pretty much systematically facing your fears.
Okay.
Um, so you start with like the least scary fears, and you go work your way up to the most scary.
Right.
And by doing that and resisting doing the compulsive behaviors, your brain learns that it doesn't have to do the compulsive behaviors to stay safe and that it can tolerate the scary thoughts. And
Right.
that's how the disorder gets better. So between the residential treatment and finding the right medication, I was able to finally manage my OCD, which felt really good.
Very nice. And I'm happy because you're now an advocate for this.
Yes.
And, share your life and help others who are going through it. It may not be the similar situation because not everybody has the same thing.
Yes,
But the mere
exactly.
right, but the mere fact that there's a space now that people can actually come and speak to you and learn from. Because I've been learning while being on your page
Oh, really?
and
That's
getting
great
more,
to hear.
yes, and getting more knowledge about things. Because there are some things that I really don't know. I think I was also there was something I was reading about in relating to OCD and PCOS, polycystic ovary
Yes.
symptom. Right. So I mean, I didn't even know that those two could be related at all.
Yeah, I only recently learned that too, so I was surprised to learn that.
But I mean, it's good. I mean, you answered for the treatments already regarding the ERP. Is there any more
Yes.
treatment that can be used for this?
So medication can often be
Mm-hmm.
helpful. This medication called SSRIs, it's a type of antidepressant and it can help OCD. Um, and usually the professionals say that therapy and medication together is the best treatment. And
Okay.
I would agree with that. So there are also other treatments if those two don't work. There's something called transcranial magnetic stimulation, which I know sounds like a
Wow.
big scary
Yes, it
word.
does.
um, it's a rather new treatment, and it pretty much I don't know that much about it, but I know it was only recently approved
Okay.
in America, and it pretty much it's like a cap with a coil that they put on your head and they send electromagnetic pulses to certain parts of your brain.
Mm,
Um, and it's supposed to help open your brain up to the other treatments, the medication and the therapy.
right.
And I've had a few friends who've done it and it really helped them.
Okay.
So there are other treatments if therapy and medication don't work like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. But um I want to encourage those who are listening to ensure that they get help if it is that they
Yes.
feel like they have this issue. And as I said before, Googling your symptoms and trying to find out is not always the best
Yeah.
way to do so because listen, I have Googled things and ended up in a panic because of
Yes.
it.
Yeah. It definitely can be a little dangerous.
Yes, it can be. So it's we advise people to go to doctors and let them see if they can refer you to someone who knows how to deal with this as best as they can so that you can get help.
Yes.
And yeah, so we're at the end of it. So thank you so much for being a part of this and answering the questions and allowing us to understand better some of the realities of OCD. Can you just let our listeners know where they can find you?
Yes. So thank you so much for having me. You can find me on Instagram at overcoming_OCD.
So it's overcoming_OCD on Instagram. So thank you so much again for being here. And I want to thank you guys for listening and being educated, even on this topic. We just thank you. And we look forward to being here again next week, Tuesday, on the Unfiltered by Jade. Thank you.
Bam bam bide, bam bam bide, badu bidi, bam bam bide.